the dorm rooms.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
So today is primary day, and we thought that it would be kind of a good thing to, since today people in Oregon will decide who they would like to see in their respective parties as president.
Yeah, whose initials are
States.
BS, I fear.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, you think Bernie's gonna win it for the Democrats here?
I live up in Portland, and and he polls very, very well in Portland. I mean, I am not endorsing that, but I'm just stating it as a fact.
Yeah, and I think he does probably pretty well here in Lane.
Yeah, I assume so. Yes.
So anyway, that said, hey, he's not going to win the general election. I mean, or he's not going to win the. Win at the convention. I don't think there's any way he's going to win.
Yeah, I haven't.
Hillary's bought it.
Yeah, when I last checked this, I think that she was a couple hundred delegates ahead of him, and of course, ever since who was it? I think it was Jimmy Carter in '76. Democrats have had a super delegate system where there are a certain number of delegates that are appointed and they're basically free to vote for who they want, and they're all generally serving elected officials who are considered the establishment. So yeah, the smart money is generally the Clinton. The Clintons got the nomination. The issue, of course, is that Sanders, because he's whipped his supporters up into so much enthusiasm, and those supporters are often young people who don't vote generally anyway. The concern is they'll all stay home, and so her winning the nomination will just serve to suppress Democratic turnout, and unfortunately. A suppressed Democratic turnout means somebody else I'm not very happy about would get the election.
All right. That said, let's talk a little bit about health care this morning.
Yeah, great. An issue that I expect to be much more prominent in this election than it's been so far.
Do you really think it will be, or do you think it's just going to be more about, as it has been so far, a lot of huff and puff about personalities?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, this election has been virtually policy free on both sides. Trump's position on health care has been like it is on most things, which is his entire policy is the word no. Let's get rid of Obamacare without any meaningful replacement. And the Democrats have been basically outbidding each other to try to offer as many healthcare goodies as possible, make it as inexpensive to you and me as possible, i.e., make it free. And Sanders literally wants to make it free, which is not a viable policy either.
Because it ain't free.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got a couple of million doctors and nurses who are going to want to get paid. They're not going to. They want to feed their families or something. And I've talked to Democratic politicians occasionally who said things like that. Healthcare should just be free. And when I asked that question you just asked, which is okay, and then who's going to pay for it? They look at me like I'm from Mars. It just does not occur to them that I think it's so wired in their DNA that the federal government should pay for anything, i.e., taxpayers should pay for everything. Yeah,
but there's this disconnect. It seems like there is this disconnect between a large chunk of people that anything from the government is actually paid for by somebody.
Of course it is.
Well, of course it is paid, but there is this disconnect that people don't seem to realize that, somebody out there. Well, you even said it in. I mean, you sent me kind of a rough draft copy of a book that you're currently working on regarding healthcare.
That'll be out in July.
Yeah, and you even talked about it where you had the Tea Party signs that were out there, "Don't touch my Medicare."
Yeah, government, don't touch my Medicare.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. You guys are supposed to be the ones that, okay, there's a disconnect there as far as who pays for all of this.
Well, I mean,
even within some on the Tea Party, they don't kind of understand that people have to pay for this.
I mean, first there's a base level of ignorance among many Americans about basic finances, which is precisely why, to pick another subject, why the vast majority of people in their 50s hardly have anything saved. What they're going to do when they retire, I don't know what they're thinking. But on this...
that's why they have returnable cans and bottles.
Thank you. That's your business plan.
I'm investing in a burlap sack. That's what I'm investing in.
Yeah, not. If you saw these palatial studios, you'd know how unnecessary that would be. I mean, fundamentally, and I've written about this too. we have structured a government fiscal system where about 50% of Americans pay no tax at all. And in that situation, if you do that long enough, and we've done it for a generation now, what you end up with is basically a bifurcated society of givers and takers. You have producers who pay for all services and takers who take all services. And why wouldn't I vote for anything to be free if somebody else is going to pay for it? I mean, now I'm ragging on Bernie Sanders' policies and liberals like that, but in fairness, I want to say that Republicans are no better. As I said a minute ago, the word "no" is not a policy. We should repeal Obamacare, okay, and that's one.
Well, yeah, I mean, in particular, I mean, if you're going to repeal Obamacare, you've already changed fundamentally the system, at least on the insurance side,
Yes.
of things so much that it's going to take a long time, even if you were going to recreate things the way it was, the status quo prior to Obamacare. I don't know how you go about doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. You've broken the egg already. You can't build it back together. I think that's fair. And so therefore, it's incumbent, for just that reason, it's incumbent about anybody who thinks the Affordable Care Act should be repealed to tell us what we're going to do instead. And that doesn't need to be the status quo. It can be something else, but they have to have some plausible scenario for doing it. The premise behind most Republican plans that I think is as flawed as the Democrat premise. Democrat premise is it's free. Nobody should have to pay for it.
Sure.
The Republican premise is the word free is in there also, and it's an assumption that healthcare is a free market.
It is.
Yeah, precisely. I'm an economist. Yeah, I believe deeply that generally competitive free markets are the best way to deliver most things. Competition, you compete with other radio stations right now. You've got to do a better job because of that. And your market share goes up and down based on your performance. That ought to be true for every industry. It ought to be true for healthcare, and that's the Republican premise, is that it is. But what they do not acknowledge is that healthcare is really a cartel. For one thing, most of us, our healthcare is not paid for by us. Primarily, it's paid for either by our employers or government. And so, let me ask you this: Do we have a toaster cost crisis in this country? No. Why? Because people buy toasters with their own money, and they make a decision about what's worth buying. If I'm paying for healthcare that I'm paying 90% of somebody else's money, or 100% if I'm, say, a Medicare or Medicaid recipient, then I have unlimited demand, and that's why we have the crisis we do. And because demand is being so supported by third-party payment, as it's called in the field, as a result, the doctors, hospitals and medical providers, they don't tell you in advance what it's going to cost. You can't comparison shop based on price materially, and so we've structured in a cartel of medical providers and insurance companies who really don't compete very much. And one of the bad side effects of Obamacare is the insurance industry is consolidating. There are far fewer insurers now than there were before the ACA. And you know very well that when there are mergers and there are fewer companies, there's less competition, and that just magnifies the cartel I'm describing.
It's funny you bring that up, because yesterday we had almost exactly this conversation with a gentleman who works in the area with Oregon Insurance Corporation. And one of the things that most people don't know, but they found out yesterday, is that LifeWise is completely leaving the state of Oregon in terms of insurance.
A lot of insurers are bailing out. That's right.
MODA
they're basically bankrupt.
Is dumping a number of counties, Lane County included. They're only going to be offering coverage in 13 counties in Oregon. Pacific Source is also leaving this area. And as he was saying, he goes, you're going to get a situation eventually where you're only going to have really one insurer in the state of Oregon, likely Blue Cross Regions. And at that point, they can set their rates pretty much where they need to. So, going back to the cartel, in that case, it's more of a monopoly. But, yeah, as you have fewer and fewer people competing, you do have a cartel. One of the things I wanted to say, we talk about choice. If you're talking about employer-sponsored health care, what choice do you really have there? You have the choice of whatever plan that they decide that they're going to offer, regardless of whether that plan is necessarily affordable in terms of deductibles and, just exactly what the coverage is. I mean, like, for instance, in our case here, I would go so far as to say it's basically catastrophic coverage with, vision. That's the way that I would describe it, and it ain't cheap.
Well, you're right. I mean, in a system where somebody else is paying the cost, guess who's going to have the power of choice? And it's going to be your employer in this case. And some employers are benign, but most are not. And you've touched on another aspect, which has not been part of the Obamacare debate thus far, which is, more and more people are insured, but as you just suggested in the example you gave, that insurance is covering less and less. I mean, you can find stories regularly of people who have to spend $20,000 just to get routine care over and above their premiums, because the premiums have such high their policies have such high deductibles and cost so much. And again, when your employer is paying for it, of course they're going to set the rules.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more. Professor Phil Romero, the discussion this morning, health care and health care plans in the upcoming election. It is 643 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected Signature Series product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
You're going to love this house. It just came on the market, and it's gorgeous inside. Here we are.
Oh my gosh, look at this room. The window coverings are stunning. It's straight out of a magazine.
Isn't it incredible? The best part? They didn't even hire a decorator. Budget Blinds did it all.
Budget blinds?
Yep, Budget Blinds. They'll give you a free in-home consultation, do all the measuring and installation, and give you their no questions asked warranty.
I'll take it.
The house?
No, the number for Budget Blinds.
Right now, Budget Blinds is celebrating our spring style event. Get a rebate up to $250 when you buy select window coverings, including energy-efficient treatments. Lower your energy cost without sacrificing on your home decor. Schedule your free in-home consultation, then qualify for up to a $250 rebate. Call your locally owned Budget Blinds today at 1-800-640-8191. That's 1-800-640-8191. 1-800-640-8191.
You are a business owner.
I am a business owner.
You want to grow.
That's true. I do want to grow my business.
But you need help.
Especially with how I'm going to grow my business.
So you call U.S. Bank.
Good idea. They'll know how.
Our custom solutions give you what you need to expand.
That's just what I need to expand.
Add a production line.
Wow. Can you believe that production line?
Give you operating capital.
Can't operate without operating capital.
And help your business grow even more.
I think I'm going to need a bigger office.
With a business banker there by your side every step of the way.
Maybe I should start another business.
Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/quickloan today. U.S. Bank, the power of possible. Equal housing lender. Credit products offered by U.S. Bank National Association and are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank National Association, member FDIC.
Every election year, you hear lots of promises and few guarantees. Lars Larson here to tell you about one guarantee you have right here in Eugene and Lane County. Jeremy Parmenter will sell your home. That's right, Jeremy guarantees to sell your home at a price and a deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it, and Jeremy will sell your home fast. Darbin and Ruby wanted to sell their home and move out of the country. They didn't need the extra stress that comes with selling their home, so they called Jeremy Parmenter. He sold their home in less than 30 days, right on schedule, and got them $10,000 more than any house in that neighborhood. Why would you think of working with any other agent in Eugene or Lane County? And there's no risk. If you want out of the contract, you're out. Call the only agent I recommend in Eugene. Call Jeremy Parmenter at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. Online, OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com. That's OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. I'm currently tracking some light fog out there. I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m. Otherwise, mostly clear skies above us. Temps right now are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. The storm system from the weekend has pulled away to the east. It's being replaced by a pocket of high pressure coming in off the water. And this pocket of high pressure will make this afternoon almost perfect, with mostly sunny skies across the region. Highs climbing back into the mid-70s to a couple of low 80s out there, with winds shifting northwest at 5 to 10. Now, the sunny, warm weather looks to last only about 2 days, as this pocket of high pressure is fairly small. And by the time we reach Wednesday afternoon, this high pressure will be gone, shifting off to the east. It'll be replaced by the next storm system, set to move in Wednesday night with a cold front, bringing showers back to the region for your Thursday and Friday. And the latest data suggests the storm system may just sit over the Pacific Northwest right through the weekend and into early next week. Simply put, today and tomorrow are the best days of the next 7. Make sure you take advantage. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. And welcome to the Wake Up Call as we discuss health care here in the U.S. And the upcoming election. Phil Romero from the University of Oregon, economist, former chief economist for the state of California, and he's done a bunch of other stuff, including write books. And I think,
Good morning.
And I think that at one point or another, you actually were the captain of a ship, weren't you? Didn't you?
On a 3-hour tour, yes.
Yeah, on a 3-hour tour. Wasn't that what you did, Skipper? Anyway, thanks for being here. Where did we leave off? We were essentially, where at this point, where the Republicans and where the Democrats differ, and how neither one of them really has what you would assume to be any kind of plan. One of the things that is brought up is, when we start talking about single payer, which is going back to what you said the Democrats' plan was.
Right.
And they bring up, look how well Medicare works. And I guess you could say, well, okay, Medicare does sort of work if you can find a doctor who is willing to actually accept Medicare patients, because many of them at this point, because of the low return for doctors on payments, because Medicare basically sets the price, they won't accept. I know this, having a senior citizen father and an aunt and uncle who live in a completely different market, where you can't even find in McMinnville a doctor now who will accept Medicare patients. Right. Most of them are dumping the Medicare patients. The only doctors to be found in the local area are in Newburgh. And when I moved my parents down from Salem to the Albany area, finding a doctor in Albany was impossible, none in Lebanon. And when I contacted the Samaritan Health Services and Corvallis Clinic in Corvallis, they were like, well, we may have some doctors after the first of the year.
Well, you're right. The single-payer advocates will argue that Medicare is some shining example. And I think there's actually some truth to what they're saying. Medicare, in a typical private insurance system, the middlemen, like insurance companies, take 15-20% of the total revenue. They skim that much off. Medicare, the claim is it's more like 2 or 3%. I have some skepticism about it, but I think it's more true than not true. One skepticism is you can play accounting games, and one man's middleman is a middleman cost is another man's actual medical cost, and you play those games. So I don't think Medicare is quite as efficient as suggested. The other reason, which you said, which is that one of the ways Medicare keeps its cost low is they're such a big dog that they are paying, I think, only about 80% of market prices for services. And as a result, as you implied, many medical providers are just saying, I'm just going to stop taking in Medicare patients at all. If you're from a rural area, then you're stuck because you have few doctors to choose from. So those who argue Medicare is a shining example, it's just like anything else. You may do really, really well with your tiny little company serving a couple of customers, but can you scale up? Medicare may do very well with its population, but it's doing it mainly by requiring doctors to raise their prices on non-Medicare patients to subsidize the Medicare patients. And if you expanded it everywhere, there's no one else to subsidize. So I'm very skeptical. I don't think a single payer idea is as bad as most Republicans do, but it's not nearly as good as most Democrats think it is.
Okay, so then I guess the real question is, in the perfect world, as we're looking at two candidates in the fall, what, I guess, would you like to hear?
Yeah, you're not going to like this answer, I based on your comments a few minutes ago. I'm one, as I implied when I was talking about the non-existent toaster crisis earlier. We don't have a toaster crisis because people pay their own money for toasters, and they make rational decisions about how much the toaster is worth to them. I think that that's basically the approach we should use for healthcare too. I think that in general, people should be required to have a catastrophic policy with a high deductible. Then they'll be basically using their own money to shop for services. And I think over the course of 5 or 10 years, that would force providers to become much more transparent about pricing and create a whole network of third parties who would actually give you quality information and force the same kind of quality improvements in healthcare that you've seen in every other industry. The catch, though, is that we've got 2 generations of Americans who are accustomed to healthcare being nearly free, quote unquote, and will rebel at the idea of paying the kind of money they'd have to pay the co-payments under a catastrophic plan, as you yourself.
This assumes, though, that even with transparency, you're going to have options in terms of where you shop. I gave my example of, for instance, if you take a look at Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon, you have 3 towns there, population between the 3 of them over 100,000. And yet, you only have one health care provider, Samaritan Health Services, in the entire area. So they can be as transparent as they want, but they also happen to be the only game in town. And as the only game in town, you can set your price wherever you want to, and if they don't like it, well, screw them. You can be sick.
I mean, in other industries, what happens eventually is some cheaper provider finds a way to enter your market. And it could be, for example, telemedicine. It could be that I can imagine 10 years from now a chain of teledoctors in which they do a lot of basic diagnosis over Skype, and then you only have to go and physically see a doctor maybe 10 or 20% of the time, for example. But the problem is right now that we don't enforce antitrust laws on hospitals and medical practices, and so that's allowed the kind of consolidation you just mentioned. And the industry, just like every incumbent industry, if I'm earning high profits, the last thing I want is to have other competitors come in, so they make sure the rules get written so they can't come in. And that's, as I said, that's the blind spot for Republicans. They don't realize that we need to force much more vigorous competition in this industry so that the benefits of new technologies could actually start happening, which they're not happening now.
Yeah, but how do you force something like that?
Antitrust is one way. Antitrust is one way. Another way might be, might be venture capital to new providers.
Yeah, but do you think that actually that's going to take hold? I mean, particularly as something as volatile as healthcare has been over the course of the last, let's say, 10 years or so,
well,
and changing with the political whims of whoever happens to be in office.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, we have zero evidence of any major candidate in the race right now showing this kind of imagination. No doubt about it. And so you are quite right to be skeptical. But I just don't see an alternative. I mean, the alternative is we've gone from spending $1 out of every $7 on healthcare to $1 out of every $6. Pretty soon it's going to be $1 out of every $5. It is the creature that ate the economy, and it's because it's the equivalent of what we've talked about in this program before regarding higher ed. As long as people believe, in my view misguidedly, that the only way to get in the middle class is with a college education, there'll be unlimited demand for it, and colleges will always find a way to expand their costs to absorb all those dollars.
Professor Phil Romero on the Wake Up Call. That's going to be a wrap for now. It is 6:55 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taking in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein to 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you are a man,
entertain your brain.
Sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room.
With a wake-up call.
It's for fun.
On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-400-1022. Strict limit of 1 per household.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. If your belly flattening results are too dramatic, simply reduce use to every other day. Think you might be bloated? See how much flatter New Biotics makes your belly. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-400-1022. That's 1-800-400-1022. 1-800-400-1022.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are slipping in early trading as investors assess the latest economic data and earnings. The Dow is down 61 points at 17,648. The S&P 500 is lower by 5 at 2060. And the Nasdaq is down 11 points at 4763. Shares of Home Depot are down 2% so far this morning, even though the company beat estimates in the latest quarter. It also raised its forecast for the year, but an analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence says there may have been increased expectations after Home Depot suppliers posted solid quarters. The April economic data shows housing starts rose by 6.6%, and a separate report shows the cost of living up by the most in 3 years, an indication that inflation may be picking up toward the Fed's goal. Consumer prices increased 0.4%, and that was the biggest gain since February of 2013. One more check of the Dow, now down 69 points. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. A hearing on the nuclear deal with Iran is about to start with one of President Obama's top advisors a no-show. Fox's John Decker's live at the White House.
House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz invited senior White House aide Ben Rhodes to testify during this morning's hearing titled White House Narratives on the Iran Nuclear Deal. This following the admission by Rhodes in a news article that he created an echo chamber of experts and journalists supportive of the deal, but saying his appearance before the committee would threaten the independence and autonomy of the president. The White House counsel declined to make Rhodes available. The White House said it was simply following past practices of other administrations. Chris?
John, thanks. There's a Republican primary in Oregon today, with the Democrats holding primaries there and in Kentucky, where Fox's Jeff Locke reports from Prospect.
Donald Trump already winning the Republican caucus, and Hillary Clinton sounding more like she's campaigning against him rather than Democratic challenger Bernie Sanders.
I actually think it matters what you say you're going to do if you're running for president.
Sanders often says if turnout is high, he wins. But with a rain and a closed primary in Kentucky eliminating the independents that have frequently boosted Sanders, it is advantage Clinton.
31 athletes may be banned from this summer's Olympics. Here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, the International Olympic Committee just saying those 31 athletes have failed drug tests. But these are old drug tests from the 2008 Olympics in Beijing that have been re-examined using the latest techniques. Officials say 12 national Olympic associations can expect to be contacted in the coming days, and there could be more to follow. The IOC saying it will also be retesting samples from the 2012 Games in London. Chris?
Simon, thanks. A National Park Service spokesman says that a Washington monument has now reopened to the public. It was closed since Saturday because of a broken elevator. They had to fix a faulty computer chip. This is Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Eugene? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Eugene area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Eugene is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, call 1-800-339-3418. Seating is extremely limited. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals guide. That's 1-800-339-3418. That's 1-800-339-3418.
Stocks are trading lower a half hour into the day on Wall Street. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We had Nicole and lost her. We'll try again in a bit. At least 69 people are now reported killed in 3 bombings of Shiite Muslim neighborhoods in Baghdad, Iraq. Islamic State terrorists have been stepping up their attacks there. They've claimed responsibility for one of those 3 bombings today. A milestone for the International Space Station. It has now passed around the Earth more than 100,000 times.
The International Space Station has been in continual motion around the planet ever since its first module was placed into space in November of 1998. It would host crew members shortly after.
It's been 15 and a half years of continuous human presence on board this orbital outpost. Over 220 astronauts and cosmonauts from 18 different countries have lived or visited here.
NASA's Paul Williams aboard the station. The ISS orbits Earth at a speed faster than 17,000 miles an hour, finishing in orbit in merely 90 minutes. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Consumer prices are up.
You paid more for things last month. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.4% in April, the largest increase since February of 2013, and a larger increase than expected. Gasoline and rents cost more. There were also increases in medical care and food prices. The core CPI, excluding food and energy, also increased by 0.2%. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
An apology from Oklahoma City Thunder center Steven Adams for calling the Golden State Warriors guards quick little monkeys after last night's playoff game. He's from New Zealand and says there are no racial connotations to calling someone a monkey there. He says he was just trying to express how hard it was to chase those guys around. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
11:20 KPNW with the Wake Up Call jam session for a Tuesday, May 17th. Partly cloudy and 75 degrees today. Clear and 50 tonight. Partly cloudy and 74. And then a little wet coming in. Currently 48 at KPNW. Roadways here, Eugene Springfield, looking okay. Highway 99, milepost 55, which is 3 miles north of Rickreall, the metro of Rickreall, and Highway 99 west. We've got a crash that seems like Salem has a lot of snafus, things to talk about. We'll not wish that upon our community. If you should see anything, let us know. And as of about 4:15 this morning, there was no line at the, what is that street? At Patterson? At the Patterson voters drop box. So if you want to rush over there, you might not be able to, and I wish, maybe at, 7:30 or 6 o'clock, you'll see a little bit of a line, but I wish it was one of those things where, 98% of the community is going to be out there voting, and it might take a while to get your ballot dropped off. I think it's more than maybe past elections, but it's still not where it should be. But just a reminder, you can't send your ballot in today. It's got to be a drop box.
Yeah, postmarks don't count. It's not like your taxes. But that said, and you're sitting there going, well, where do I drop my ballot off? Well, first off, I'm just going to say, oh, man, aren't you needy this morning? Anyway, and the second thing would be you can go to the county elections office, or easiest place, most post offices, or not post offices, but most city halls and most public libraries. That's generally the easiest way to go. And you walk down there and say, where do I put? And then they'll say, God, aren't you needy? It's in the box over there. And then you can go, oh.
And if somebody comes to your door and says they're the official balloteer and they're here to pick it up,
yeah, they're lying.
Don't hand it to them. We'll talk more about today's big Oregon primary with Tommy, the 12-year-old, coming up later in the hour.
Right on.
And we'll also talk about schools and the whole bully system. Heard of the buddy system? I'm calling it the bully system. We'll talk with a Dr. Cleet Boulash coming up. It's just a fun name to say. News is coming up as well.
Yeah, we'll have all of your election stuff that's coming up that you need to know. Also, some local news, including a local area federal judge that says, yeah, no, if you're an illegal alien, you don't get to have a driver's license. Those stories and more are coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones on KPNW.
News time 7:08.
Burrito Amigos really does do things differently. Hi, I'm Bill London, bacon addict. One of the first things I noticed about Burrito Amigos bacon burritos is that they use not one, but two types of bacon. Nicely played, burrito friends. Their beef, not the usual cheap cuts, cooked forever to make it sort of tender, except for the surprise gristle wads. Burrito Amigos uses real certified tender black Angus beef, the kind you find at expensive steakhouses. That's different. The fish burritos, real cod. The taco salad's huge. Burrito Amigos menu is even different. You'll find your favorite burritos, enchiladas, tamales, and quesadillas there, but where else are you going to find yammy tacos made with yams and a spicy guacamole sauce that's different from anything you've ever tried? They even have potato tacos, which are delicious. How many burrito places even have a vegetarian menu, let alone tofu items? Burrito Amigos, happy to be different. In Eugene and Springfield, I'm Bill London, happy to vouch for the bacon and the yammy tacos.
If you're thinking about a new RV or an RV upgrade, don't make a decision without seeing what the RV Corral can do for you. At the RV Corral, serving you is at the top of their list. It all starts with their newly expanding award-winning service and parts department. Are you looking to sell or consign your RV? The RV Corral will buy your RV for cash or free consignment. High trade-in allowance too. With local owners for 28 years and all local employees, the RV Corral will be there to help you make your RV dreams come true. Easy to find on Highway 99, 1 mile south of Belline. Buy anywhere else, you'll pay too much.
Hi, I'm Ray with Cut Rate Construction, here to do some roof maintenance.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it.
Listen, lady, you want it done right or fast?
Hi, it's Matt from Pressure Point Roofing, reminding you that when you hire the cheapest contractor, you'll get the cheapest work. We always provide the highest quality work and the best warranties in the industry. See for yourself at PressurePointRoofing.com.
Pressure Point Roofing. We'll see you next time up on the roof.
Local news, local people. Wake up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, Oregon's primary election is today. Brad Ford reports the interest around the presidential races seems to be increasing voter interest.
Nearly 100,000 people have registered to vote since the first of the year. Oregon Secretary of State Gene Atkins says that's a big accomplishment. What's telling are the number of voters who switched parties.
Almost 45,000 people who moved their party registration one direction or another in the last 2 weeks before the end of the registration deadline.
It's not too late to vote, though. You can find a drop box in your area, and if you made a mistake on your ballot, you can go to your county's election headquarters and ask for a new one. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Now, in Lane County, as in around the state, mailing in your ballot is no longer an option. You need to find a drop-off point.
There are 21 drop site locations in Lane County. Ballots have to be received by 8 o'clock, and the list of drop sites is on our website at lanecounty.org/election.
Lane County Clerk Cheryl Betchart says returns have been trickling in so far.
80,353 ballots through our ballot pickup Monday, and that's a 36.4% return.
Election results will be available starting at 8 p.m. tonight. A pair of Lane County commissioners are eyeing higher office, and tonight will tell the tale if they get to move on to the main event. Springfield Commissioner Sid Lycan is vying for the chance to run this fall for Secretary of State. Lycan is facing former state legislator and failed gubernatorial candidate Dennis Richardson in today's primary, while Commissioner Faye Stewart is looking to face off this fall against Senator Ron Wyden for the U.S. Senator's seat. Of the two commissioners, Faye Stewart has had the more nasty primary opponent to deal with in Bend businessman Sam Carpenter. Carpenter has leaked edited videos from campaign stops that put Stewart in a bad light and has run a mostly negative and factually challenged campaign against Commissioner Stewart. Oregon voters will also decide which of three prominent Democrats will get the nod for Secretary of State. It's the second most powerful position behind the governor, although many would say it is the most powerful position in the state. With about $2 million spent since last year by the trio, it's the hardest fought statewide race on the primary ballot. The Democratic rivals are local state representative Val Hoyle, state labor commissioner Brad Avakian, and state senator Richard Devlin. Hoyle has been blasted by her Democratic opponents for accepting a $250,000 donation from former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. It is the largest single donation to any Secretary of State candidate in state history. And it was because Michael Bloomberg was buying Val Hoyle's vote and her role in passing Oregon's background check among individuals on gun sales in 2015. Avakian sent a fundraising email drawing attention to it with the headline, "Wall Street Billionaire Tries to Buy Oregon's Democracy." Meanwhile, Devlin focused on the hypocrisy of Hoyle accepting the $250,000 donation, saying that Val Hoyle has claimed she'll get big money out of Oregon politics. On the eve of Oregon's primary, last night, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders was talking about the state as being critical to his hopes of winning the Democratic nomination this summer at the National Convention. Sanders says if there's a big turnout today in Oregon, he will win the state for the Democrats. He's held 3 Oregon rallies this year, and while Hillary Clinton has decided to skip the state altogether. She spent Monday campaigning in Kentucky, where she believes she's going to have a better shot. Statewide, only about 29% of Oregon voters, by the way, have returned their ballots so far, which is slightly behind the pace from 2008. A Cottage Grove teenager is dead after the car he was driving was struck by another vehicle. Captain Bill Fugate with the Oregon State Police says it happened yesterday just north of Cottage Grove near River Road on Highway 99.
Preliminary investigation reveals that a Subaru wagon was traveling northbound on Highway 99 when it drifted off the highway, and then it overcorrected and came back across the highway into the southbound lane. There it was struck by a southbound Chevy van on the passenger side. Both vehicles came to rest on or near the highway.
18-year-old Connor Fitch died at Cottage Grove Hospital, where he was taken after the collision. The driver of the Chevrolet was Brian Ross of Eugene. He was uninjured. Highway 99 was closed for 3 hours. The investigation continues. Umpqua Community College is receiving about $530,000 in federal money to help it recover from a mass shooting on campus last fall. State lawmakers announced the U.S. Department of Education award Monday. The money is going to help the school cover the costs related to the October 1st shooting in Roseburg that left 10 dead, including the shooter, and 9 injured. Plans for the grant include funding, student support, and a wellness director, a recovery advisor specialist, a mental health therapist, and additional security personnel. The money is being provided through the Federal School Emergency Response to Violence Grant Program. It awards money to schools affected by violence or trauma. The Bureau of Land Management cannot win as groups are filing complaints about the agency's plan to manage 2.5 million acres of public forest land in western Oregon. or some would say mismanaged 2.5 million acres of public forest land. On one side, you have extreme environmentalists like Earth Justice and the Western Environmental Law Center. Both filed protests yesterday because they want to close down forest lands for any productive use, while the Coquille tribe is challenging the plan for a different reason. 20 years ago, Congress handed over thousands of acres of BLM land to the Coquille tribe as part of the tribe's economic self-sufficiency plan. The tribe is required to manage their lands consistent with the standards and guidelines of adjacent federal land. Brenda Mead is the tribal chairperson of the Coquille tribe, and she explains what that means to them.
So, unfortunately, when the BLM wrote this new management plan, they essentially wrote our new management plan as well.
The tribe will lose millions of dollars in revenue for services like health care, education, and elder care due to a loss of timber revenue, and they're not happy about it. They say that some Oregon representatives are trying on Capitol Hill.
From Senator Wyden and Congressman DeFazio, and are taking positive steps to advance legislation that could possibly decouple us from this requirement. The legislation has passed the House and is currently in the Senate.
House Resolution 2791 is currently pending in the Senate. However, critics of that bill say it's still woefully short of the original ONC Lands Trust agreement in terms of harvest levels. The ONC Trust was a contract between the state, timber counties, and the feds that spelled out in very specific terms harvest levels. The federal government has been in violation of that contract now for many years. Well, a judge in U.S. District Court in Eugene has dismissed a lawsuit seeking to give illegal aliens in Oregon access to driver's licenses. The suit, filed on behalf of 5 illegals from Mexico, sought to restore a 2013 law that was passed by the Oregon legislature. It was Senate Bill 833 that created those new driver's licenses for illegals. That law was overturned after what was referred to Oregon voters as Measure 88 in 2014. That measure was soundly defeated by Oregon voters. U.S. District Judge Ann Aiken wrote that she lacked the authority to compel the state to issue driver's licenses. Moreover, she found that Senate Bill 833 never went into effect as Oregon law. And that means even if she invalidated the voters' rejection of Measure 88, which would have created driver's licenses for illegal aliens, as unconstitutional, she said that no existing law authorizes the state to grant driver's cards. Temperatures are warming and conditions are getting dry. Brad Ford says now is when fire officials need you to prepare your house for summer fire season.
Whether you live near a forest or in a neighborhood, you need to take action now to protect your house.
We really want folks to think about creating and maintaining a 30-foot defensible space around their home.
Chris Babbs with the Keep Oregon Green Association says wood piles should be moved 30 feet away from your house, trim trees 6 to 10 feet above the ground, and check your roof for dried leaves and needles. Then make sure the gutters are clean. If there is a fire nearby, embers could easily spark a new fire.
We kind of think about it as a circle of safety, and that 30-foot space is really important.
Babbs says it is possible for your house to survive a wildfire if you remove dry and flammable material that's nearby. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, Oregon's scenic Columbia River Gorge is the stage today for one of probably the hottest disputes in Oregon's primary. It is a proposal by Nestle to build a bottled water plant in Cascade Locks using water from a mountain spring. Town leaders support the idea because it would create a few jobs and generate annual revenue of hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though that won't happen for, 15 years. But Nestle's plan has drawn opposition from orchard owners, Native American tribes, and a lot of residents, as well as others. Farm and orchard owners have noted that Hood River County experienced drought in 2015. Water bottlers would compete with their orchards and farms for the growing population of the town of Hood River and its shrinking water supply, they say. Opponents also object to trucks making 200 trips a day to and from the plant. Native Americans have cited salmon die-offs and water conservation as reasons to reject the bottling plant. Nestle hopes to use 118 million gallons of water per year by 2020. The company would pay Cascade Locks an undetermined amount for the water. Sounds like a deal. Mount Hood had some small earthquakes over the last couple of days. Seth Moran with the Cascades Volcano Observatory says the quakes have been near Timberline Lodge.
In an area where we've seen past swarms that typically last for a couple days or even a couple weeks.
Moran says these swarms are regional tectonic-type plates or quakes, and Mount Hood has them every year or so.
There's nothing about them that directly points to any kind of magmatic involvement for why they're occurring.
Magma. Moran says there's no direct connection between these plates and the ring of volcanoes, or the ring of fire volcanoes acting up. But I do love the word magmatic. It's 7:21, News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
The defending NBA champs Golden State Warriors had few challenges this year after winning 73 games, few off nights. Last night they had one. Just happened to be in Game 1 of their series with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who took the win 108-102 on the road in Oakland. It's not the OKC. It's not that they were lighting up the nets, as their stars Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook missed a combined 34 shots. The two 27-year-olds led the scoring charge. Westbrook dropped 27-24 in the second half. Durant added 26. Game 2 from Oakland tomorrow. So Warriors trying to square it up. In Portland, the NBA's fifth longest tenured coach will add to his years overseeing the Blazers, according to the Vertical. Terry Stott's 3-year extension will start the beginning of the 2017 season. Will keep him through the 2019-2020 season. Oregon men's golf team, third place of the NC2A men's golf regional in Tucson, behind Stanford and Alabama Birmingham. Junior Thomas Lem shot a 369 that left him tied for 7th. Oregon's number 1 golfer, Aaron Weiss, eagle in his second hole, but a double bogey on 8 has him even and tied for 23rd. State tournaments, Sheldon girls lead the 6A tournament at Quail Valley by 4 strokes over West Lynn. 5A boys, Marist is third, 20 strokes behind Summit. And Vernon Adams looks to be headed to the Canadian Football League after finding no NFL takers. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, brought to you by Max Muscle. Where's your finish line? Set a goal, make a plan, get results. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice. News time, 7:23.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. I'm currently tracking some light fog out there. I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m. Otherwise, mostly clear skies above us. Temps right now are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. The storm system from the weekend has pulled away to the east. It's being replaced by a pocket of high pressure coming in off of the water. And this pocket of high pressure will make this afternoon almost perfect, with mostly sunny skies across the region. Highs climbing back into the mid-70s to a couple of low 80s out there, with wind shifting northwest at 5 to 10. Now, the sunny, warm weather looks to last only about 2 days, as this pocket of high pressure is fairly small. And by the time we reach Wednesday afternoon, this high pressure will be gone, shifting off to the east. It'll be replaced by the next storm system, set to move in Wednesday night with a cold front, bringing showers back to the region for your Thursday and Friday. And the latest data suggests the storm system may just sit over the Pacific Northwest right through the weekend and into early next week. Simply put, today and tomorrow are the best days of the next 7. Make sure you take advantage. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center. Hoping you have a great day out there.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. Without a doubt, one of the most perceptive persons in our world's history was Helen Keller, who, even though blind for her entire life, once said, "I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do." Do you think you're handicapped in some way? Even so, what are the things you do well? You can still do those things, and even if they are only a few, you can still do them. So do something, and definitely don't refuse to do the things you can do well. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by the folks at Builders Electric, a company that can handle all your electrical needs at home or your business with smart, positive service. That's Builders Electric.
Is your body getting enough protein every day? Try Max Pro at Max Muscle. These protein shakes are packed with protein, very low carbs, and zero sugar. Chocolate malt, strawberry banana smoothie, blueberry, and more. Max Muscle. Try it before you buy it. Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
See a problem on the commute? Be an official KPNW Wake Up Call Road Ranger today. Call 541-344-2424 and report it. Dakota Ring and Road Ranger Keep and Sombrero sold separately. The Road Ranger Network, exclusively on 1120 KPNW.
726. Wake up call. All right, school coming down to the last month. September will be here soon. And parents like myself will be having their kids enter school for the first time or having their kids go back to school. Maybe it's been a while since you've been in school, like myself. We want to find out what's going on in the classrooms and the playgrounds of today, and maybe what you can do about it, if anything. Dr. Clete Bulash has been a teacher, a principal, and a superintendent. He's written a book called Creating a Culture for High Performance Performing Schools, a comprehensive approach to school reform, dropout prevention, and bullying behavior. Boy, that's a lofty goal. Joining us, Dr. Clete. Clete, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Rob. Pleasure to be on your show.
All right. For someone who hasn't been in school for a while, since maybe they were a student decades ago, kind of take us into what a school looks like in 2016 inside the hallways and the locker rooms.
Okay. What was the question?
What does a school kind of take us into a school, what a school looks like as far as, somebody that maybe has been out for a couple of decades? What does it look like?
Well, there are really 4 different types of schools. There's one, what I call loosey-goosey, where the principal and teachers run a very loose ship. There's a lot of things happening in classrooms, in hallways. Then there's the traditional school where control is a major, major goal. They crack down very tightly on discipline. They've got a lot of rules, and it's not a fun school to go to because the heavy emphasis on control stifles the motivation of students and teachers. That's roughly 75% of the schools in the United States. Where this heavy emphasis is on control. Then you've got a third type of school where the administration and teachers have come up with a system of rewards where if teachers do what they're supposed to do, they get a reward like Teacher of the Year, the Parking Spot of the Month, or something like that. And then students get rewards as well. If they don't have any discipline problems, they get to have lunch with the teachers up on the stage. Or there are rewards of different kinds. In some cases, students get points, and the points can be used at the student bookstore and so forth. Then the fourth type of school that I write about, and as far as I know, I don't know of, there may be 3 or 4 in the United States. There aren't many. But in this type of school, the students control their own and each other's behavior. In other words, discipline falls on the students and not on the teachers. That's a very different type of school because teachers have a lot more time to teach. They don't have to focus on controlling discipline so much. And that is an enjoyable school where kids love to come to this type of school. Teachers love to come to this type of school. And that's the one I describe how to implement that type of school in the book. And in this type of school, all people have 5 basic needs. Rob, you've got 5. I've got 5. All students have 5. All teachers have 5, and here they are. Number 1, this has been written about by philosophers since the 18th century. They identified the first basic need as survival or life itself. And of course, most people want to live. You got a few who commit suicide, but basically 99.9% of the people want to survive. Number two, they want to be happy. Moments of happiness. Life with no happiness is not a life. You have to have some moments of happiness, and of course you can't be happy all the time. Number three, all human beings want to have some control over what happens to their life. And Rob, you can ask yourself this question. What is it like when you have complete control over what's going on versus you have no control over what's going on? It's kind of like a night and day thing, right?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess.
So a school where kids have some control over what happens to them is very important. And this process of asking kids to control their own behavior and each other's behavior gives them a form of control, and they like it. The teacher does not give up control in that situation, but gives the kids control and asks them to take part in classroom discipline. So that's the third basic need that's met in the type of school that I'm talking about. And the fourth one is, I'm having a senior moment. Let's see.
Talking to Dr. Clete Vulash.
Is purpose. Purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Many kids come to school with no purpose. And I've interviewed thousands of kids for this book, and I asked them, why do you go to school? And they said, well, we have to. It's the law. I said, you mean if you didn't have to go, you wouldn't go? And they say, no, I don't like school. I said, oh, so you don't have any other reason for going to school other than it's the law. And of course, a lot of kids go to school because they want to get good grades and they want to, go on to college and become doctors and lawyers and principals and teachers and so on. They are professionally oriented, and those kids do well. It's about 50% of the kids who go to school have no purpose in going. The fifth basic need is caring. About 50% of the kids go to school believing the other kids don't care about them. They believe the teachers don't care about them. And I've asked them, I said, well, what do you like about school? And they said, the teachers. And I said, oh, that's good. What don't you like about school? And they said, the teachers. I said, whoa, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Well, some of the teachers care about us. We can talk to them. They'll listen to us. And then you've got the other teachers, about 50% or more, who don't care about us. All they want is their paycheck. They come into our classroom, they prop their feet up on the desk with their cup of coffee, and they look at us and they say, I'm here to teach. If you want to learn, you listen. If not, that's your problem. They don't care about us. So you got the five basic needs: caring, purpose, control, happiness, and survival. Now, if you talk about bullying behavior, over 10% of the kids go to school believing that somebody is going to hurt them. And, their survival needs are not being met. Their control needs are not being met. They are not happy. They have their purpose. They have no purpose.
Okay, so
they believe nobody cares about them.
What can the school...
What's going to motivate that kid? Nothing. As a matter of fact, that kid is a potential for violence in that school, because no person can stand to not have some control over their life. They have to get some way to get control back.
Dr. Bluff, can you hear me?
In that type of school where you have a lot of these kids, gangs are proliferate, because if you have no control and you want some control, you join a gang. And the gang then protects you. Well, those are some of the thoughts that run through my mind when I think about the schools that I have been in over my 50 years as an educator.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, all right, if you're saying that they're not motivated, and so I just wanted to kind of reemphasize that's why they're getting bullied, is because they're not motivated?
Oh, no.
You're
no.
talking about the students that were being bullied.
You're talking about bullying now. They're bullied because I call them an isolate. Any kid who is an isolate is going to get bullied. An isolate is a kid who has few or no friends. I take myself, for example. In my junior year, I switched high schools. I was the littlest kid in my class. I had no friends, and I was the littlest kid. Freshmen, big freshmen, would tackle me out on the playground and try to beat me up where nobody was looking. I was an isolate. I didn't have any friends, and I was little. Of course, I learned to fight pretty good because I had to. And it wasn't long before they knew that if they picked on me, they might get hurt too, because Bullock was going to fight back. So that's the type of kid who gets bullied. Somebody who's strange, somebody who's different, transgender, little, no friends, has weird physical movements. That type kid is going to get bullied.
Okay, so as being one who was bullied and having been a teacher and a superintendent or principal, what if anything can schools do today to kind of ward off the isolate? I mean, because there's always going to be, kind of the castaways of those that are isolated.
I write about that in the book. There is a
maybe you
way
can tell us.
to identify the isolates. Once you identify them, then you find a way to get them friends, or so that they are protected. I call it the sociogram. Anybody can go on the web and look up the word sociogram, and they will find out how to identify an isolate. But basically, the teacher goes to the kids and says, if you were going to have a birthday party, who would you invite to your party? And gives the kids 3x5 cards and says, write one name on each card of who you're going to invite to the party. So maybe the teacher gets back 100 cards. But on each card, there's one name, and so you quickly sort these cards into common piles, and you'll find out who the popular kids are and who the ones who don't get invited. And almost always there will be a kid or two who doesn't get invited. That kid is a potential victim. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
But it's really easy to do. Only take 15, 20 minutes of a teacher's time. Give every kid a 3x5 cards and say, I want you to tell me who you'd invite to your birthday party. And the kids write cards, a name on each card. Teacher picks up the 100 or so cards, sorts them into common piles, and finds out that he's got one kid that didn't get invited. That kid is a potential victim. Now, counselors should do that for an entire school. That should be part of their job, to identify how many kids at a school are isolates. That kid is a potential for violence, because that kid could decide, I'm going to show those kids and go home and get a gun and come back to school. That's where the shooter many times comes in.
Well, the book is called Creating a Culture for High-Performing Schools, a comprehensive approach to school reform, dropout prevention, and bullying behavior. Clint, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for the time.
Rob, it was a pleasure being on your show.
All right, take care. 7:40, Tommy the 12-year-old, coming up next at 11:20 KPNW.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. After a rally to start the week, the Dow is down 87 points, the Nasdaq down 19, and the S&P down 9, as investors look at reports on inflation and housing. Inflation rose a little, 0.4% in April, but that is the most in more than 3 years, and that has Wall Street worried that it may soon hit the Fed's inflation target for hiking interest rates. Housing starts are a little better than expected. In April, builders broke ground on 1.17 million new homes, a gain of little more than 6.5% from March when they fell sharply. After a string of bleak retail earnings reports, there are a couple of bright spots. The company behind TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and HomeGoods beat estimates. And the Home Depot's results are also ahead of estimates despite volatile spring weather. When it comes to our finances, Bankrate.com says 3/4 of us have regrets. The top concern, not saving enough for retirement. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Jerry Shop Talk, can I help you?
Hi, yeah, I need some plywood.
Okay.
A dozen 10-foot studs.
Right.
6 rolls of tar paper, 8 bundles of roof shingles, and 12 concrete blocks.
Okay, got it.
Can Jerry's help me out with all that?
We'll do more than help you out.
Yeah?
We'll totally load your vehicle.
Really?
Just drive through our drive-through lumberyard.
Drive-through? Awesome. Can I get a shake with that?
Sure. Put her there, pal.
Thank you.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
That's another home run for Oregon. Precision counts, whether it's a big game on the line or your quality of life.
I had excruciating pain in my cheek and jaw, a condition called trigeminal neuralgia. My doctor recommended Sacred Heart Gamma Knife Center.
The physicians used highly focused, precise radiation beams to target the nerve. Game over for Mary's pain in just a few weeks. If you have a brain tumor or episodes of severe facial pain, ask your primary doctor or specialist about Gamma Knife. Visit peacehealth.org/Gamma Knife to learn more.
For the all-new John Deere riding mowers, tractors, and side-by-sides, think Ramsey Weight.
Make tracks to Ramsey Weight for John Deere lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers.
There's nothing like a John Deere Gator utility vehicle. From hardworking and trail-ready to the ultimate in work capability. Get into a Gator now at Ramsey Weight.
Don't just dream about it, wait for it.
Ramsey Weight.
Open Monday through Saturday. Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood. Online at RamseyWeight.com.
The best real estate market in a decade. Less homes for sale, coupled with low interest rates, get you the top dollar for your house in today's market.
So if you have to sell so that you can buy and you don't want to be without a place, you need to call Eric and Jeanette Harpole with Keller Williams Realty. Really, they're expert negotiators. They specialize in working with their clients that need to sell so they can buy their next home. And if you want to sell within your time frame and get the most money possible, these are the folks.
Obviously, you know that not all agents are the same. In fact, Eric, Jeanette, and their team outsell all other agents in Lane County. The reason? Better marketing, top-notch negotiating, their exclusive enhanced listing program, and unlike other agents, they offer flexible commissions. Hey, if you're not happy, fire them. You are in control.
You can get free information about selling your house this spring or summer. Give them a call, 541-286-3030. That's 541-286-3030. Or just go to harpolehomes.com in Lane or Douglas County.
When you need painting, you want the best. Fitzpatrick Painting. Don't settle for less.
Specializing in house repaints, interior and exterior, and commercial buildings, Fitzpatrick Painting also provides a full line of carpentry services and so much more. Experience the difference. Find them at fitzpatrickpainting.com for your free estimate and more information.
Fitzpatrick Painting, unsurpassed in customer service and quality.
Earnings vary based on your effort.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Eugene? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Eugene area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Eugene is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, call 1-800-339-3418. Seating is extremely limited. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals Guide. That's 1-800-339-3418. That's 1-800-339-3418.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, today's shaping up to be a fairly nice day. We do have a little bit of light fog out there, but I expect that to burn off over the next couple of hours. Otherwise, temps right now are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the north at 5 to 10 and mostly clear skies. We're seeing a pocket of high pressure moving in behind the storm system from the weekend, and that will buy us a couple of nice days. This afternoon, mostly sunny skies will dominate. Temps look to rebound into the mid-70s, if not a couple of low 80s out there. Winds will shift northwest at 5 to 10, but this pocket of high pressure won't last long. It only keeps today and tomorrow fairly nice before the next storm system starts to roll in Wednesday night. The latest data suggests that Thursday and Friday will be wet days, and the storm system that creates those showers and cold front could last right through the weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you enjoy the nice weather.
Super serving the 15. The Wake Up Call. Mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Please clap.
On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
7:47. You know, we couldn't on this day where the nation has their spotlight on Oregon along with Kentucky not have our political analyst, our political prodigy, Tommy, the 12-year-old, who joins us now on the Wake Up Call. Tommy, welcome back.
Good morning.
It's
in addition to the political world and things like that, because you are a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, however old you are. What kind of interest do you have aside from the political world? So like sports, movies, who are you?
Well, I like football. I've played 3 seasons of it, and I said this before, like whenever I get obsessed with something, I start learning so much about it that whenever anyone sees something about it, they're like, oh, do you know this? So, like with birds, if anyone sees a bird on TV, they're like, oh, what is that kind of bird? Sometimes I don't know, but
you become obsessed about it, and then you learn everything you can.
Yeah.
So you're a good person if you want, like, say, betting or gambling tips. You're the kind of kid that I need to come to. For like when I'm looking for betting, when pro football rolls back around, coming up in September and October, I need to come see you, is what you're saying.
I have not gotten obsessed with that yet.
Apparently, you're a pretty good football player, too, from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really good?
Yep, my nickname was Touchdown Tommy, even though I didn't score as much touchdowns as 2 people in front of me, but the person who scored the most touchdowns, his name is AJ, so Touchdown AJ doesn't sound right.
So you get the moniker?
Yeah.
That's called alliteration. When you did like the 2 words with TT, Touchdown Tommy, that's alliteration. See, you've learned a vocabulary word coming into the studio today, along with sociogram and isolate. You learned those as well.
Tell them the other words you were teaching them, too. All right, so Tommy,
was the word hangover.
Tommy, the 12-year-old, what's your feelings as we're heading into this big day? What do you think?
It is a really confusing primary in both states, because Oregon's closed primary. Is Kentucky closed primary, too?
I believe, yes.
So, in Oregon, you think that Bernie would win. But you see all the signs of Bernie stuff, but it's a closed primary, so only Democrats can vote.
For Democrats.
What do you think of that system? You think that should be the way it is?
I really don't know. I would think that it shouldn't be, but if that's the rules, okay, then that's the rules.
Okay, going by the rules we have.
So I think Hillary will pull away with the win in Oregon, but I think it will be close, because the independents, Bernie does really well with independents. And all of the closed primary states that have been so far, Hillary's won 8 out of 0 of them. So all of them. And so the independents can't vote. It will be close, though.
You think Hillary's going to win, even though, she didn't even
come. That's
visit.
Another thing that it's a confusing state, because closed primary, then her not coming, but I think she'll pull away with the win. It will be close, though. She'll win, I think, by 1 or 2%. It will be really close. And on the other side, it's obvious who's going to win. Trump, because he's the only person. I think he'll get around 70% of the vote because of the early voters. Last week, when people say that he got the least amount of votes out of single candidates ever gotten, it's because those states have so many early voters that vote months before Rubio dropped out, before Cruz dropped out, before Kasich dropped out, even before Ben Carson dropped out. So I really don't see why people would bring that up. It's like, oh, he can't win in November because he didn't win that. It's because all the people that voted early voted for someone else.
Good point. I like this kid. Where did we find you? No, I'm just kidding. So, you're predicting Hillary by just a couple of percentage points, and of course Trump because, well, he's the only guy left in. Are there any other, like, for instance, elections statewide that you're interested in? Secretary of State, gubernatorial primaries. What other primaries have caught your attention?
Well, electing the governor. Yeah. So with the people that are running, Bud Pierce and Al Nally running, I think that Bud Pierce will win, but I'm not sure if he'll have a chance to win in the general. I think that whoever's running for mayor in Eugene has a chance.
Yeah, who do you think is going to win?
I think Lucy Venus will win as mayor, and I think Bud Pierce might be the governor of Oregon.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you think that Bud can beat Kate Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Based on, are you just doing that just kind of based on gut, or is there a reason why you feel like that Bud Pierce can beat Kate Brown?
So many people have turned to have registered a Republican when they were a Democrat last year. I think Trump has a chance of winning Oregon in the general election too. I don't think he will, but I think it will be close. So Bud Pierce has a serious chance of beating her because she's ran, and people have seen how the state it's one of the lowest states financially with all of the and prisoners, and so with the Democrats running the state, people would switch over because they realize that, wait, this isn't the way to go, so they switch to the Republican side. I think that Bud Pierce can win because of that.
Okay, so I guess trying to crystallize what you just said, that people dissatisfied with the way things have gone in the state for a while, with the high levels of incarceration, low graduation rates, and high taxes, etc. Is that what you're kind of saying?
I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear.
Okay, no, it's okay. Well, you made it clear. I just wanted to make sure that I understood it correctly. Because I'm slow. You should know that by now. You've come in here enough times. You should be able to know that Bill guy over there is not very quick.
And going back to your prediction for mayor, why do you think Venus wins over Clark?
Well, I've seen a few polls showing that Mike Clark would win by a decent amount, but with the Oregon primary, the Eugene mayoral race. It's like Portland. Portland has this too. That if you get 50% of the vote in the primary, then you automatically are mayor. I think Lucy Venus will actually get 50% of the vote, so I think she'll win. I think if she didn't get that, then I think Mike Clark would be able to win. But just because of that, I think that.
So you're disregarding the polls?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. The only thing that I would say about that in your analysis is that with the candidates that you have running, with the exception of Mike Clark, the rest of them are progressive to one level or another. I mean, they're all left of center. It's just a matter of degrees. With Lucy Venus being so far left that she's essentially a Kitty Piercy clone, only she actually occasionally smiles. So what you're going to have is you're going to have those folks that are going to actually dilute the vote for Lucy Venus, which is where I think probably where Mike Clark has the chance.
I think that too, but
you still think that Lucy?
I still think that she'll win because those people realize that they're gonna need to vote for Lucy Venus, because if they don't vote for her, then Mike Clark's gonna win. I think they'll change their sides.
All right, there's Tommy the 12-year-old. You're off to what class?
Language arts.
Language arts.
Is that a class you like?
No. And I have 2 hours of it today.
All right.
2-hour class?
That's what I like about you. You're blunt.
What do you think, going back to what Dr. Cleet said before this, what do you think about a school where the kids handle the discipline? Teachers don't discipline, they teach, and the kids handle the problems.
I think it would be chaotic. Because people would come up with the kids would come up with their own rules for punishments when they do something wrong.
So you wouldn't want to go there?
No, I would not want to go there.
Okay. All right. All right, Tommy, have a great day at school. We got a break. Hour number 3 coming up on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Warmer weather is coming. You may be ready, but is your vehicle? Mid-Lane Truck and Equipment Repair can perform a complete inspection of your cooling and air conditioning system to ensure you and your vehicle stay cool when it gets hot out. Offering bumper-to-bumper service and repair on trucks, RVs, autos, and trailers, including general maintenance, in-frame overhauls, welding, fabricating, liftgate, and reefer repair. Call Mid-Lane Truck and Equipment Repair now to beat the heat.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taken in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is your wake-up call.
It's like no cheese I've ever tasted.
News Radio 1120, KPNW.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Times are still tough, so saving a little money on whatever you can seems like a good idea. It all counts to those who need it and feels good, even to those who don't. Economists call how you feel about what you get when you spend your money transaction utility. If you got your money's worth, or maybe a little more, you will experience positive utility. If you think you acted foolishly, or more likely you just got screwed, you get negative utility. Think candy bars at the movies. I feel the same way about razor blades, and while I don't have to go to the movies or buy candy there, for all practical purposes I do have to shave most days. So when I bought 24 3-blade cartridges at Costco for $50, I was aghast. Big-time negative utility. I'm sure glad I'm not still addicted to cigarettes, because the price would give me heart failure before the tobacco had a chance. Here's the nugget. Again, about those razor blades. My wife heard somewhere that if you dry them with a hairdryer shortly after use, they last longer. Turns out a lot longer, and you could pay for a cheap hairdryer in short order. So while I still feel cheated when I buy the blades, I smile every morning when I give one a quick blow dry. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
Laughing Crow Salon wants to thank all the men and women that have served or are serving in the U.S. military. On Thursday, May 26th, show your military ID, and you'll get a free haircut at Laughing Crow. It's a way of saying thank you for your service and your sacrifice. A free haircut with your military ID. First come, first served. May 26th, only at Laughing Crow, 690 Van Buren in Eugene.
Do you dance badly or hug in public? That's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
News, information, 24/7 on News Radio 1120, KPNW. Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120, KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Bernie Sanders looks to continue his case for staying in the race with the Democrats holding primaries in Kentucky and Oregon. Fox's Jonathan Hunt's in Portland.
In the one poll published in recent weeks in Oregon, Hillary Clinton was up by 15 points over Bernie Sanders. She hasn't campaigned here at all. That might be a sign of confidence, but there are many political experts who think it could be much closer, particularly if the young, very liberal voters of Oregon have mailed in their ballots in large numbers.
Oregon's Republican primaries today as well. A House hearing on the Iran nuclear deal has started, with the Obama administration refusing to send a top aide on the guest list. Fox's John Decker is at the White House.
House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz criticized senior White House aide Ben Rhodes for declining to testify during this morning's hearing.
What is mystifying to me is how readily available he made himself to the media, but only select media, those in his echo chamber.
The no-show by Rhodes follows the publication of a New York Times article in which Rhodes admitted that he created an echo chamber of experts and journalists supportive of the Iran nuclear deal. The White House said Rhodes' appearance would threaten the independence and autonomy of the president. Chris?
John, we're hearing today about what caused a deadly train derailment in Philadelphia last year as Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
NTSB officials say the train's engineer was distracted right before that crash by radio transmissions from a commuter train that reported a rock had shattered its windshield. NTSB Chair Christopher Hart made a case for positive train control, or PTC, saying it would have made a difference in the outcome.
The list of PTC preventable accidents stretches back decades, involving both passenger and freight trains.
The report also says 4 of the 8 who died last May were ejected. Chris?
Tanya, thanks. On Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 42 points, and you're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
Have you heard about Neurospine Institute's movement therapy program? Based upon the traditional Chinese practice of Tai Chi, this therapeutic process can help you achieve a more balanced state of mind and body. Tai Chi is an ancient martial art that can be practiced for a variety of health benefits. It promotes effective healing, improved relaxation, and stronger resistance to illness or injury. Meditation and yoga classes are also available. Visit neurospinellc.org for the current schedule of movement therapy programs.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
The summer mosquito season coming. The Senate votes today on funding to fight the Zika virus. Here's Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C.
Chris, it's much less than the president wanted, but a $1.1 billion package has the best chance of advancing in the Senate. In the House, Appropriations Chair Hal Rogers introduced an even smaller $622 million funding bill to fight the mosquito-borne virus, which can cause severe birth defects. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest has blasted Congress for taking too long to approve too little money to combat the threat. The Obama administration requested a $1.9 billion funding package. Chris?
Rachel, thanks. Secretary of State John Kerry's at talks in Vienna, Austria about the fighting in Syria.
A variety of competing interests are going to have to be reconciled. And those involved in this conflict with competing agendas are going to have to be willing to prioritize peace.
There's a June 1st deadline set for letting humanitarian aid into people cut off by the fighting. More new homes are being built.
The Commerce Department says groundbreakings for new homes increased 6.6% last month, more than expected. Builders were starting more single-family homes and multifamily complexes than expected in April. More single-family homes were going up in the South and Midwest. The Northeast and West actually saw a decline in single-family homes started.
That's Fox's Jenny Casola. Anxiety medicine for dogs.
Owners of a third of the 70 million dogs in the U.S. report problems with fear of loud noises like fireworks and thunder. More dogs run away on the 4th of July than on any other day of the year. Now, animal health care company Zoetis of New Jersey is bringing to market the first prescription medicine for treating dogs with noise anxiety. The company says its recently approved Cilio will be available through U.S. veterinarians within a week. It gives dog owners an alternative to human anti-anxiety pills and generally unsuccessful behavioral treatments.
That's Joe Chiaro, and I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
1120 KPNW. Waiting right now for a call from Alan Alley, who is supposed to be calling right now. We're going to have a little chat with him regarding his gubernatorial run. Is he on with us? Do we get him? All right. So joining us, it is Alan Alley, he is running for your vote in this primary. He would like to be governor. Of course, he is not running unopposed, and he joins us on the wake-up call to try and convince you last-minute voters why you need to vote for him. Alan, thanks for being with us on the wake-up call this morning. For those,
Bill, it's great to be here.
For those who are not familiar with your background, you were the founder of Pixelworks. A businessman, entrepreneur. You've actually tried to run for Secretary of State at one point. That didn't go well for you, obviously. You also ran against Chris Dudley to run for governor of the state of Oregon against John Kitzhaber. Didn't quite make it there either. And here you are trying to once again go for the governor's chair. First things first, if you were elected governor, what are the first couple of things that would be on your agenda that you feel need to be addressed?
Well, let me back up for a second. I ran for state treasurer.
Treasurer.
And received more votes in Multnomah County than anybody but Ronald Reagan. Lost in a three-way race where the guy that won just barely 50% of the vote. So we did really well for a down-ballot race in a year where Obama won the state by 18 points. So the top priority has to be education, as far as I'm concerned. We have the lowest graduation rate in the country, the shortest school days, the shortest school year, yet we spend an enormous amount of money on education. We're just not getting our money's worth out of that. I think the second thing, Bill, is just looking at how the government is run. We've increased spending by 63%. In the last 10 years, it's $27 billion, yet nothing is 63% better than it was 10 years ago. In fact, nothing is any better than it was 10 years ago. Your roads aren't better. Your schools aren't better. Health and Human Services rated a 0 on our foster care system. We spent $200 million on a bridge and $300 million on a website that you got nothing for. I think those are the top two priorities for me.
Okay, you talk about spending here in the state and the increases to $27 billion. Much of that money is going to PERS. The Oregon Health Plan is also eating up quite a bit of that particular budget. Even though we've had increases in education, you know as well as I do that most of that money is going to end up in PERS accounts. The question is, what do you do about those two problems? The Oregon Health Plan is something that is ingrained in Oregon at this point. It's not going to be changed, particularly under the ACA. And PERS, what can you do about it? Everybody has tried to make changes in PERS. The courts have almost universally overruled those changes with a couple of minor ones. What do you do?
PERS is absolutely fixable. The first thing is you live up to the commitments of the existing employees and the retirees. You have to. The courts have said that. The second thing is we have about a $22 billion gap. That's just expected to grow exponentially if we don't do anything. So we have to do something. The first thing you do is you create a defined contribution plan, or a Tier 4. What that means is people that are employees would put money aside. That money could be matched by the state. It can be a very generous plan, much more generous than what you find just about anywhere else. And that would, by definition, give you a mechanism to not have an unfunded liability because it's defined contribution. You put the money in, you match it, that's it. The second thing is that as people retire, you hire fewer people than those that retire. It sounds pretty simple. We never do it. In fact, when somebody retires, we almost hire 2 people to replace them. But you have to bend that curve. You add computer systems and software tools to make people more productive. You do those pretty simple things, and the PERS problem gets fixed.
Okay, so for Republicans that are sitting there that maybe haven't decided yet between yourself or Bud Pierce, you know, what do you say to those that say, okay, I am familiar with Alan Alley. I know that at one point he was the chair of the GOP in the state, and during his tenure as chair of the GOP, we lost even more seats. We, being the Republicans, lost even more seats in Salem under his direction. What do you say to those people that look at that and go, well, he wasn't a very good leader of the GOP. Why should I believe that he's going to do any better leading the state?
When I took over the GOP, it was massively in debt, and more debts were pouring over the transom. We realigned the GOP. We got the costs down. We raised over $1 million for the GOP. We left it in the black. We recruited some great candidates. Newt Buehler ran while I was chairman of the GOP. Newt then ran for state representative, and I'm sure he's going to run for statewide office. So we went from red to black, and we got some great candidates in and put them through the system. So I think it was a very, very successful term as chairman of the GOP. Look, if the state had a disease, Bud's the right guy to hire. The problem is the state doesn't have a disease. The state has an economics problem. It has a jobs problem. It has a management problem. It has an unbelievable lack of oversight problem. It has a transparency problem. Those are all things that fit my background and experience of running large organizations, motivating people in those organizations, providing a vision and a direction. That's why I should be governor.
All right. So you left the GOP in the black, and you have one guy that you're able to pull out and said, look, we got Newt Buehler. He was a good one. But still, the point being, you still lost seats. So the question here is, why should anyone that is a GOP that has followed your career say, okay, this is the guy that can win the general election, and this is a guy that's going to be effective doing the other things the politician has to do?
I just gave you the reason. The state does not have a disease. The state has a fiscal problem. It has a management problem. That's what I did. Look what I did with the GOP. It was the same thing on a small scale. Just remove a few zeros.
Right, but you don't have, at that point, you don't have the kind of opposition that you're going to have in Salem in the legislature, where you're dealing, and very likely will be dealing, with, at the very least, a House that is led by very progressive Democrats, and likely a Senate that is going to be in Democratic hands, too. How are you going to politically deal with the opposition, even when you had problems dealing with your own party?
I have a history of working well with people that don't have the same background and experience that I do. In Japan, in Korea, in Taiwan, in Europe, all over the world, I've done that very successfully. The second thing is that I've worked successfully in a Democratic administration. And it's something that people seem to think is a liability, but I've proven that I can defend conservative principles, get things done, and work in a Democratic environment. I've proven that I can work with the Democrats. I'm the only candidate that has.
Okay, so you worked with Democrats. What did you do while working with Democrats? You were a part of Ted Kulongoski's administration. What did you do while you were working with Governor Ted Kulongoski, a progressive, that furthered conservative values here in the state of Oregon?
I'll give you an example, low-carbon fuel standard. It came up when I worked in the office. I sat down. I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. I understand internal combustion engines. I did the research. I went through. I found low-carbon fuels, as they were proposed, do not save any CO2 at all. The only thing it does is it raises your gas price. I got the people together. I walked them through it. We did not move that forward in 2007. When I left, it was passed in 2009 and then repassed. That's a perfect example of defending conservative principles working in a Democratic administration.
Working in a Democratic administration, but you also had a different makeup in the House and the Senate at that point.
They were Democrats.
Well, there were Democrats, but there was a lot more conservatives there, and it allowed them to basically stop that from moving forward, where in the last legislative session, you almost have a supermajority.
That's not true at all. At the time, they had a majority in the House and in the Senate, and it was only because we stopped it in the governor's office that it didn't move forward.
What are some other things that are on your particular agenda other than the couple that you mentioned? Give us a third top choice for Alan Alley if he's elected.
Let me tell you how we do some of these things, like the budget. The budget is a $70 billion morass. No single human can possibly pierce the veil. What we do is we post it online. And we'd have several biennia that people can go in, and they can go in and look at it. We actually ran a prototype of this in 2010. What came out of that prototype was somebody said, hey, it looks like the Oregon Department of Transportation is roughly twice the size of Colorado's Department of Transportation. We went in, we looked at it, and in fact, it's true. So Colorado, a slightly larger state, more population, more roads, actually has a budget that's about half the size of our ODOT budget. Now, the next step is to go in and find out why. Is it because we have to ship aggregate from the east over to the west now, or is it that we're just massively inefficient, or we have a lot of administrative overhead? But that's the way we're going to solve these problems, and that's where my technology background, my experience in looking at problems differently and coming up with creative solutions is why I should be the governor.
You mentioned that you're able to work together with Democrats to solve issues. One of the issues that you drew fire on had to do with the Oregon Transformation Project, a group that you were a part of that sent out a mailer a couple of years ago touting a number of Democratic candidates, including Tina Kotek, who is now the progressive leader of the House. A lot of people kind of pinned that on you. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, they did that. I had taken over chairmanship of the Republican Party. I had not been active in the Transformation Project for a long time, and they released it. On the day they released it, I disavowed it. I resigned my chairmanship, and that was it. They shouldn't have done it.
How come you didn't have more oversight over that?
I had taken over the chairmanship of the Republican Party. I thought it was an organization that really wasn't very active. It turned out it was active.
And so as a result, you resigned over that. Are there any of the folks that were on there, like, for instance, Tina Kotek, who was one of those candidates that was endorsed? Are there any of those Democrats that were on there that you would have or did endorse?
No, not at all.
All right. Any last pitch that you would like to make before we let you go here?
You know, we've got a great opportunity this year. The Democrats have overreached about every way they possibly can. The low-carbon fuel standard, the Oregonian called it a colossal policy stinker. The minimum wage that was passed, the Oregonian called it the Teen Employment Destruction Act. They also pointed out that the Democrats don't represent 62% of the state. They're only representing the 38% that are registered as Democrats, and I'd have to tell you, I don't even think they represent that little group. We have a great opportunity this year. I have the right background and experience to do this and win the general election. I proved it in the performance in 2008. We can do it in 2016.
All right. Alan Alley on the wake-up call. Alan, thanks for joining us. Good luck in the primary. It is 818 News Radio, 1120 KPNW.
Think about all the different types of food we have in the U.S. There's Cajun and Tex-Mex, Northwest cuisine, Southern homestyle, and so on, and each one has a different flair, different staples, and unique dishes. Mexican food is the same way. At Burrito Amigos, you're going to get what's called Baja style. It comes from the northwest corner of Mexico, and a lot of the recipes at Burrito Amigos are family recipes, like the Baja fish tacos with cabbage, white sauce, and real cod. Normally, shrimp burritos at most places are like any other burrito, just with shrimp instead of, say, beef. Well, at Burrito Amigos, their shrimp burritos are also Baja style with the cabbage and the white sauce. You can always taste the difference at Burrito Amigos. And by the way, speaking of Baja style, stop by Burrito Amigos on 24th and Hilliard or on Highway 99 and get coconut shrimp tacos with mango pico de gallo. For the record, yep, tried them, loved them, needed seconds. Always good, always different, always friendly. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield. I'm Bill London, and I approve this message.
And now for a message from Gerber Life Grow Up Plan. Attention parents and grandparents, do you want to help give your child a great financial head start in life? You can. For just pennies a day now, you can give them $10,000 in whole life insurance that doubles to $20,000 at no extra cost during age 18. Later on, regardless to their health or job, your child has a right to buy additional coverage at adult rates, providing total coverage of up to $100,000. The Grow Up Plan also builds cash value you can borrow from. Low childhood rates that lock in for the life of the policy, benefits that double, plus the right to add more. That's security and valuable protection from Gerber Life, a name known and respected for generations. Get started now. Call Gerber Life Grow Up Plan at 800-372-4043. That's 800-372-4043, or visit us at mygrowupplan.com. Remember, it costs you just pennies a day now. For free information or to sign up now, call 800-372-4043. Gerber Life Insurance Company, White Plains, New York 10605. Policy Form Series GPP 12, Policy Form ICC 12 GPP. The Grow Up Insurance policy contains terms which may affect the benefits provided. Please contact us for costs and details of coverage. Interest rates apply to any policy loans.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call. on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This abbreviated look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. That's a look at your news. I'm just kidding. Oregon's primary election is today. Brad Ford reports the interest around the presidential races seems to be increasing interest.
Nearly 100,000 people have registered to vote since the first of the year. Oregon Secretary of State Gene Atkins says that's a big accomplishment. What's telling are the number of voters who switched parties.
Almost 45,000 people who moved their party registration one direction or another in the last 2 weeks before the end of the registration deadline.
It's not too late to vote, though. You can find a drop box in your area. And if you made a mistake on your ballot, you can go to your county's election headquarters and ask for a new one. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
In Lynn County, as around the state, mailing in your ballot is no longer the option.
There are 21 drop site locations in Lane County. Ballots have to be received by 8 o'clock, and the list of drop sites is on our website at lanecounty.org/election.
Lane County Clerk Cheryl Betchard says returns have been trickling in so far.
80,353 ballots through our ballot pickup Monday, and that's a 36.4% return.
Election results are going to be available starting at 8 p.m. tonight. Well, one of the most hotly contested races will be between three Democrats for the chance to run for Secretary of State in the fall. Oregon voters will be deciding which of the three prominent Democrats are going to get the nod for the run for Secretary of State. The second most, some would say the most powerful position here in the state of Oregon in November. With about $2 million spent since last year by the trio, it is the hardest fought statewide race on the primary ballot. The Democratic rivals are local state representative Val Hoyle, state labor commissioner Brad Avakian, and state senator Richard Devlin. Hoyle has been blasted by her opponents for accepting a $250,000 donation from her campaign for selling her vote to New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg on passing Oregon's background check law. That, by the way, donation from Michael Bloomberg is the single largest single donation in history to a Secretary of State candidate. Avakian sent out a fundraising email drawing attention to it with the headline, "Wall Street Billionaire Tries to Buy Oregon's Democracy." Whereas Devlin pointed out the hypocrisy of Hoyle accepting that particular donation, calling the move shocking because he said Hoyle has claimed she'll get big money out of Oregon politics. In other news, a Cottage Grove teenager is dead after the car he was driving was struck by another vehicle yesterday. Captain Bill Fugate with the Oregon State Police says it happened just north of Cottage Grove on River Road, near Highway 99.
Preliminary investigation reveals that a Subaru wagon was traveling northbound on Highway 99 when it drifted off the highway, and then it overcorrected and came back across the highway into the southbound lane. There it was struck by a southbound Chevy van on the passenger side. Both vehicles came to rest on or near the highway.
18-year-old Connor Fitch died at Cottage Grove Hospital. The driver of the Chevrolet was Brian Ross of Eugene. He was uninjured. The investigation continues. The BLM just can't win. Those groups on both sides of the issue are filing complaints dealing with the agency's plan to manage, or some would say mismanage, 2.5 million acres of public forest land in western Oregon. On one side is environmental extremists like Earth Justice and the Western Environmental Law Center. They filed a protest against the Bureau of Land Management Monday because they want to close down forest lands for being used for any productive use, while the Coquille tribe is challenging the plan for a different reason. 20 years ago, Congress handed over thousands of acres of BLM land to the Coquille tribe as part of the tribe's economic self-sufficiency plan. The tribe is required to manage their lands consistent with the standards and guidelines of adjacent federal land. Well, Brenda Mead, tribal chair of the Coquille tribe, explains what that means to them.
So, unfortunately, when the BLM wrote this new management plan, they essentially wrote our new management plan as well.
The tribe's going to lose millions of dollars in revenue for services like health care, education, and elder care due to the loss of timber revenue, and they are not happy about it. They say that some Oregon representatives on Capitol Hill may be able to help.
From Senator Wyden and Congressman DeFazio, and are taking positive steps to advance legislation that could possibly decouple us from this requirement
The legislation has passed the House and is currently in the Senate.
House Resolution 2791 is currently pending in the Senate. However, critics of that bill say it's still woefully short of the original ONC Lands Trust agreement in terms of harvest levels. The ONC Trust was a contract between the state, timber counties, and the feds that spelled out in very specific terms harvest levels. The federal government has been in violation of that contract for many years. It's 8:25. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones on KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Defending NBA champs Golden State Warriors had few challenges this year on the way to winning 73 games, few off nights. Well, they had one last night. Just happened to be in game one of their series with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who took the win 108-102 on the road in Oakland. A pair of 27-year-olds, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, did pretty well, with Westbrook scoring 27 points, 24 in the second half, Durant adding 26, game 2 tomorrow night. In Portland, the NBA's fifth longest tenured coach will add to his years overseeing the Blazer. Terry Stotts, his 3-year extension will start at the beginning of the 2017 season, will keep him through 2019-2020. Oregon men's golf is in third place of the NC2A Men's Golf Regional in Tucson behind Stanford and Alabama. High school golf state tournaments, Sheldon girls lead the 6A tournament at Quail Valley by 4 strokes over West Lynn. 5A boys, Marist in third, 20 strokes behind Summit. And Vernon Adams Jr. looking to head to the Canadian Football League after finding no NFL takers. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle. Where's your finish line? Set a goal, make a plan, get results. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice. News time, 8:27.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, today's shaping up to be a fairly nice day. We do have a little bit of light fog out there, but I expect that to burn off over the next couple of hours. Otherwise, temps right now are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the north at 5 to 10 and mostly clear skies. We're seeing a pocket of high pressure moving in behind the storm system from the weekend, and that will buy us a couple of nice days. This afternoon, mostly sunny skies will dominate. Temps look to rebound into the mid-70s, if not a couple of low 80s out there. Winds will shift northwest at 5 to 10, but this pocket of high pressure won't last long. It only keeps today and tomorrow fairly nice before the next storm system starts to roll in Wednesday night. The latest data suggests that Thursday and Friday will be wet days, and the storm system that creates those showers and cold front could last right through the weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you enjoy the nice weather.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
Why compromise how you want to heat and cool your home? Resolve your heating and cooling issues the way you want by contacting Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer. Turn to the experts who will listen to your wants and needs for home or business. Their professional staff will listen to you, offering their good, better, and best solutions, addressing your wants and needs using quality Carrier products, making you Pacific Air comfortable. Pacific Air Comfort, quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Where's your finish line? Set a goal, make a plan, get results. Max Muscle offers customized nutrition plans by a certified nutritionist. Learn what and how much food to eat, when to eat, and how it relates to your body. Stop into Max Muscle today, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected Signature Series product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
You're going to love this house. It just came on the market, and it's gorgeous inside. Here we are.
Oh my gosh, look at this room. The window coverings are stunning. It's straight out of a magazine.
Isn't it incredible? The best part? They didn't even hire a decorator. Budget Blinds did it all.
Budget Blinds?
Yep. Budget Blinds. They'll give you a free in-home consultation, do all the measuring and installation, and give you their no questions asked warranty.
I'll take it.
The house?
No, the number for Budget Blinds.
Right now, Budget Blinds is celebrating our spring style event. Get a rebate up to $250 when you buy select window coverings, including energy-efficient treatments. Lower your energy cost without sacrificing on your home decor. Schedule your free in-home consultation, then qualify for up to a $250 rebate. Call your locally owned Budget Blinds today at 1-800-640-8191. That's 1-800-640-8191. 1-800-640-8191.
The KPNW Honor Flight Auction is this Friday, the 20th. If you're already an auction VIP, you're set to become one. Pre-register at kpnw.com and click on Oregon E-Deals. Then listen to KPNW this Friday, the 20th, for the auction starting at 6 a.m. You can call the Priority One Heating Hotline and bid on featured items like ductless heating and air conditioning systems from Priority One or a $3,700 certificate from Worldwide Granite. Tune in to 1120 KPNW. Get the details at kpnw.com.
And now, more wake-up call.
Have no fear.
From the Widmer Brothers Studios.
I'm out of ideas. Anyone?
It's News Radio 1120. KPNW.
8:31. Any other Tuesday, we'd be venturing off to the world of Lucky Paws, or they would be coming in here to talk about dogs up for adoption. But Julie said that there's a health issue with the dog that she was going to bring in. But she did want to talk about, and pass this on, that they had a huge Saturday, a 23-dog adoption day, which is a new record.
Nice.
So if that was you and you went out there and added to the family, hey, thank you for doing that. LuckyPawsSite.org is a website. You can also go to their Facebook page, which is probably a little bit more updated, facebook.com/LuckyPawsSite. And they're over there in Springfield doing some great things. So a tip of the hat to those that have added to the family from Lucky Paws. But there still are animals to be adopted.
That's right. Joining us on the wake-up call this morning, Lori is on the line with us. Lori, thanks for being with us on the wake-up call.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you found yourself in kind of a strange situation. Why don't you you giggle. Well, I mean, I find it to be...
It is true.
Yeah,
it's a very strange situation.
Okay, so Lori, why don't you kind of lay it out for us what happened?
So about, I don't know, a week and a half ago, I lost my friend to cancer. And across my years of knowing her, she started out with a cat. And then the neighbors, two intact females, had litters in her backyard. And she made an attempt when they were kittens to place them with a local shelter and got turned away. And so she ended up keeping them. And what I found myself with were 10 cats that needed homes and had some deferred veterinary care because of her illness. And they range in pretty adoptable to one who's sterile. And she did really good things for them across the years, and my position as her friend was to try and find them homes, and I'm struggling with a couple of exceptions. I want to say a big thank you to No Kill Lane County. They've given me resources in the way of crates and referrals, and have led to one of the cats being placed with Mark and his staff at Nature's Pet. Mm-hmm. So I'm down to 9 cats that I need to find homes for.
Okay, so your friend passes away. You've got the cats. I'm assuming, or maybe I'm assuming incorrectly, but let's go there. Did you not contact, like, say, Green Hill or First Avenue, which is run by Green Hill, to see if maybe they could do something to help?
Her sister went in person and didn't have much luck in person. And I got an email that said, basically, we're full. Fill out our intake form. We'll set individual appointments for assessment, and we maybe could find places for them, which, in my experience with working with the shelters in general, I volunteered there a long time ago. In essence, that means any cats with problems are not going to be taken in, and her cats have problems. They're under-socialized and timid. They were fine with her. She got to where she could handle them, and I, as a visitor to her home could pet them but not pick them up. And so her situation is special. Her sister and family live out of state, some in Washington, some in California. And I have been calling before she passed, looking for places that might be willing to, I guess, kind of do some estate planning with Cheryl to say, you know, if you can set them up in groups of 2 or 3, then maybe the rescue groups, when you die, will be willing to take them and we'll have resources. And I've pretty much gotten the same standard response. We're full, we'll assess them, and we'll let you know. And it leaves me in a position where I've got a whole bunch of cats and a little bit of time because they need to resolve the estate, and I'm running just into walls.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I would love to say that the shelters here were helpful. They haven't been.
Okay. All right. So let's move on then to solving this problem. So you've got, so what I'm hearing here is you got one of the cats adopted out. That leaves you with 9 cats, am I correct?
9, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so are these mostly like outdoor cats, barn cats?
I would say the majority are. There are 2 that are pretty feral. I got a pretty substantial bite from one of them while we were trying to hold for veterinary care. Toby is the most feral and would do really well in an outside environment where he could have a place to hide and not really expect a lot of human interaction. And then there are 3 right now. One is really adoptable. Margie's a little on the older side. She's 12, but she's declawed and just very confident and a lovely cat. And then there's a couple that are timid. Cammie and Misha did pretty well with a group of strangers holding them for veterinary care, and I think in a right home, a home where they could have time to just kind of relax and learn to trust new people, they would be fine as someone's companion. And then I have a group of 5 that kind of range somewhere in the middle, where they might seek attention but not necessarily want a lot of cuddling, and they've been both indoor and outdoor. So they're pretty savvy with what they need for outside stuff, and especially if we could set them up successfully in the new home and give them time to adapt.
Okay. So for folks that are interested that, maybe they want a couple of outdoor cats, or they've got some patience where they want to take a couple of shy cats, or maybe they just want, an older, very mellow, socialized cat, how are you adopting them out? How do you want to handle that?
Well, I would be happy if they could call the station or leave my personal information so that they could contact me directly. Or I've been working with No Kill Lane County. They know how to reach me too, and they have a Facebook page and a web page. That's how I found them. And if they would contact either through No Kill, the information would get to me, and I would call folks back.
Okay, let's go that route.
Okay.
No Kill.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say No Kill Lane County, which you can find them on Facebook. It's pretty easy to do, and their website as well. Anyway, go ahead. I'll finish what your thought was there.
Well, and then I wanted to mention that we did get everybody tested for FIV and leukemia. They're all negative. They've been dewormed. They're all up to date on vaccinations. And so from adoptability or a veterinary thing, my friend's sister stepped up and did all of that veterinary care. So all it is a matter of finding homes and trying to get them settled.
All right. It brings up an interesting point that I think is probably instructive here, is that when you're in a situation where you have pets, in particular in a situation like with your friend where, she was dealing with health issues, she knew that there was health issues, trying to, make those arrangements, probably that's something that would be better handled proactively than in a case like this where, here you are, a good friend, and you're kind of stuck with these cats, and you want to do the best because you know your friend would want them taken care of, and yet, on the other hand, you're just kind of left out there to hang. I mean,
that's correct.
It's obviously a difficult position for you to be in.
Yeah, it's. I have days. My days are filled with both discouraging news and hope. Each time I hear something from a rescue group or a shelter that says, "Sorry, but no," it is really hard because I'm in a tight time frame, and I think she did well beyond what a normal person would do for her cats. And then she kind of let things drop, and I talked with her. It's like my own pets. I've had conversations with my friends, and I have arrangements for them where there's part of my finances go with my pets should something unexpected happen to me. And for me, that's comforting. It just helps me know that someone's gonna take care of them if I can't. And I'm trying my best for my friend and to honor her life and what she did. And I wasn't expecting it to be as hard as it is, and I'm really grateful for the 2 resources that I did find. But it's hard. It's hard to be in this position. And
well, I got to say, Lori, you're a good friend. You're the kind of friend I think that most people would want in that kind of position that you find yourself in. But still, I mean, you're a good friend. So again, just kind of circling back. So we have Lori here who ended up, because of her close friend passing away, with 9 cats she needs to adopt. 3 of them pretty socialized. The other 6 at this point, probably more outdoor cats. Best way to try and adopt them is to go to No Kill Lane County on the Facebook page, or go to their website, No Kill Lane County. They can put you in touch with Lori and, maybe set you up with a new companion pet. Lori, a big thank you to you for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. I know it's kind of a harsh thing to be going through, but like I said, you're the kind of friend that I think most folks would want. So thanks for what you're doing, and thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you, and thanks for giving them an opportunity.
Yep, our pleasure. You take care. Lori joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. It's 8:42 News Radio, 1120 KPNW.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Investors often see economic reports through the lens of the Fed, and today's is an especially sharp focus. The Consumer Price Index, what we pay for goods and services, rose in April by the most in more than 3 years, 0.4%. Inflation is one of the key factors the Fed watches as it deliberates a possible interest rate hike, and the report is enough to get investors worried. The Dow down 56 points, the Nasdaq down 15, and the S&P down 6. But this market strategist says he still expects no change to rates next month.
I think most investors believe the Fed will not be raising rates when they meet in June, possibly doing so in July, or even more so waiting until December.
Sam Stovall, U.S. equity strategist at S&P Global Market Intelligence. After last week's somber parade of retail results, there are 2 positive reports today from the Home Depot and TJX, which runs TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and Marshall stores. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Coming up this Thursday, it's another Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by KPNW and Widmer Brothers, along with Western Beverage. We're going to be out at Sam's on Franklin. All the fun starts at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It goes until 7, and we invite you to come on out and join us. Tip back a brew or 2 and chat, and maybe even win some great stuff. We'll be giving away some beer signs. We also have Weird Al Yankovic tickets. It's going to be great fun this Thursday at Sam's on Franklin, brought to you by Widmer Brothers Beer and KPNW.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-400-1942. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-400-1942. That's 1-800-400-1942.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Just text the word trial to 313131, and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. Now here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text TRIAL to 313131 and get started for free right now. Again, text TRIAL to 313131.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day trial. Cancel anytime.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. I'm currently tracking some light fog out there. I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m. Otherwise, mostly clear skies above us. Temps right now are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. The storm system from the weekend has pulled away to the east. It's being replaced by a pocket of high pressure coming in off of the water. And this pocket of high pressure will make this afternoon almost perfect, with mostly sunny skies across the region. Highs climbing back into the mid-70s to a couple of low 80s out there, with winds shifting northwest at 5 to 10. Now, the sunny, warm weather looks to last only about 2 days, as this pocket of high pressure is fairly small. And by the time we reach Wednesday afternoon, this high pressure will be gone, shifting off to the east. It'll be replaced by the next storm system, set to move in Wednesday night with a cold front, bringing showers back to the region for your Thursday and Friday. And the latest data suggests the storm system may just sit over the Pacific Northwest right through the weekend and into early next week. Simply put, today and tomorrow are the best days of the next 7. Make sure you take advantage. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center. Hoping you have a great day out there.
The Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call. On 1120. KPNW.
848 News Radio 1120 KPNW with the Wake Up Call on this Election Day 2016. You think, voting, and you think George Rohde, right? So we thought we'd finish up the show with the purveyor of car maintenance and repair from Euro-Asian Auto House and Stadium, the man that knows everything automobile is in studio, George Rohde. Back in.
Good morning. And by the way, just to set people straight, I am pretty knowledgeable on cars, but everything to know about cars, I maybe know about 1%.
Oh,
cars
come on.
Do I know how to make the steel, cast the things, do this, do that, design, make, production, put together? Oh my gosh!
At least
cars.
Give yourself some credit. At least 3%.
Yeah, 3%. Cars are very, very complicated. And I had a question to you.
Yeah.
On Mercedes, if you don't use your turn signal, you'll wear out your brakes. Now, how can that be?
I used to have one.
So on newer
What,
vehicles,
a turn signal?
1983.
Yeah, no, a turn signal or a Mercedes?
A Mercedes.
So on the newer Mercedes, if you change lanes without using your turn signal, your brakes will nudge you back into your lane. It applies the brakes if you don't use your turn signal.
Why?
Because to keep you going down the road straight, it thinks you're drifting unintentional lane changes. The way you tell a car that you're intentionally wanting to change lanes is to use your turn signal. Even my 2014 Subaru, if I don't use my turn signal, it will go ding at me when I go over a white line without using my turn signal.
See, this is not going to work very well if you ever have to try and outrun the police.
Just use your turn signals.
Yeah, because if you're using your turn signals, they're knowing where you're going every time.
Yeah,
you don't have a chance of losing them. That's that's bad design right there. That's not looking out for all of your potential clients.
It just nudges your brakes. It will nudge your brakes to pull you back into the lane. So there are some really unusual things. We just one of the things we did is we sent a couple of my technicians to Texas to learn about
barbecue.
No, it's actually smokehouse.
Okay.
Anyway, to learn about some of the newer things on cars, and that's one of the things. Mercedes will apply your brakes. For instance, if you're going to the left lane without your turn signals, it will apply the right brakes just to nudge you back into your lane, because if you don't use your turn signals, it considers it an unintentional lane change.
Okay, so what happens if it hits the brakes and it tries to nudge you over, and
you can override it very easily
by what?
Just continuing to steer over.
But how long does that take?
How long does it take to do? As soon as
if you need a split-second reaction.
Oh, it's just a nudge, just a gentle nudge. It isn't like.
Yeah, it's not like jamming on the brakes.
No,
and you're going to roll
it's just
the car.
a gentle nudge to remind you. Things like indexing spark plugs. You go, what the heck is indexing spark plugs?
Yeah.
Indexing spark plugs, they have a gap in it. That gap needs to be in a certain range of the direct injector into your cylinder. If you don't do that, you can burn up an engine. Pre-ignition, baby. So as we go down the world of automobiles...
May I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Doesn't the factory, like for instance, if you need one of those replaced, those are made by the factory. Aren't those come pre-gap?
I'm not talking about pre-gap. It's where the gap faces, as in the combustion chamber.
Well,
okay.
Wouldn't that be automatic when you put the
you have to tighten it.
in?
You have to tighten it to a certain degree. Bottom line is you need to know where the gap is in relationship to the combustion chamber.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the distance from the actual spark plug to the chamber itself?
In a spark plug, you have an electrode that comes down to the bottom and over. Okay, that piece of metal needs to be facing a certain way.
Oh.
Called indexing spark plugs.
Oh.
Things are really complicated.
I get what you're saying now.
Right. And in newer engines, very, very precise engines, things start getting very, very, very important. The old days, by the way, keep in mind, spark plugs, when I started in 1975, replaced them every 15 or 7,500 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went up to 15,000 miles. Then they went up to 30,000 miles. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Then to 60,000, and now it's not unusual for 105,000 mile spark plugs. It is absolutely incredible how much more maintenance-free vehicles are. The word, and I'm going to use the word tune-up, that's an obsolete word in newer vehicles. If you go into place and say, with a 2000 newer, I want a tune-up, and they say, hey, we have a tune-up special. It's not a word used at all. Tune-up used to be, way back when, distributor cap, distributed rotor, air filter, fuel filter, spark plugs, points and condenser was a spark plug. And then one of the tune-ups used to be the most difficult thing because, like the conductor of an orchestra, you need to synchronize all things to happen at the same time. Make sure your vacuum advance is working, your centrifugal advance, your timing, your carburetor is set correctly, all the spark plugs are firing correctly. That's what the old oscilloscopes used to be. That is an ancient past now, folks. Matter of fact, one of the things I'd love to do is I'd love to get together with some of these 60s and 70s cars with my old oscilloscope and have a tuning class, because that's what we did. I remember calling up a certain dealer saying, I need a vacuum advance for this vehicle. Mm-hmm. And they go, why are you buying so many vacuum advances? Because we check them. This particular place never sold in their shop a vacuum advance until I pointed out that these vacuum advances were defective. They get holes in them. They wouldn't hold a vacuum. has to do with the running and fuel mileage of vehicles. You don't do that with new cars.
It brings up an interesting question, because you see these auto repair places or parts places, your Connects and so on and so forth, and I'm not picking on them at all. But I've wondered, it's like, how many more years can those places exist? Essentially, they're going to get to the point where all they're going to be selling are essentially windshield wipers, a couple of different types of fluid, and that's about it.
And air filters and fuel filters.
Yeah.
It seems to be getting more that way. Another one I always question is car stereos. And of course, as I get older, my stereo isn't as important. I listen to music. I love music, but I don't listen to it as loud. And newer cars come with some pretty awesome sound systems. I mean, tweeters and woofers and mid-range speakers. Interesting world out there. One of the things I wanted to also talk about, recalls. It seems like we're plagued with a lot of recalls. As you mentioned, Subaru came across
yesterday
a steering shaft that would separate from the steering gear. I theorize, okay, I haven't heard the exact, but they're separate. That the steering wheel will just spin.
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing at all. Actually, something most people don't realize, every car on the road has 500 to 600 at least manufacturers making parts for each and every car out there. The dashes, the knobs, the steering gears. They've got to sync, if you can imagine syncing all of that together, and it is absolutely incredible how dependable a car is. Keeping in mind, your car is the most complicated thing that you own. As I mentioned the other times, some cars have 100 million lines of code written in the computers, more than a Boeing.
So on the recalls, just make your point there before we...
There's just more stuff going on. They're reporting it more often.
Okay.
Euro-Asian Auto House Stadium, any specials coming up?
$59.95 alignment, four-wheel alignment special at Stadium Automotive, 343-5050.
George Rohde, you are the man. And that's going to do it on this Oregon Primary Day 2016. Thanks to Tommy, the 12-year-old, and, of course, Lori. We'll be posting some information on her if you're interested in cats. Hey, see you tomorrow, 6:05, right here on KPNW.
Get set to save now at Mid-Valley Tractor, your local Kubota dealer. Take command of your lawn care needs with a new Kubota Commander zero-turn mower. Get commercial-grade performance and a full 4-year factory warranty at a price you can afford. Now during the Get Set to Save sales event, get a special introductory price of $38.99 and 0 down and 0% financing for 36 months. Now through June 30, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about cost and terms. Great prices, great products from people you can trust. Mid-Valley Tractor on Highway 99.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users.